Deepika, are we live? Can we just
It's live.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is WeeklyWed, our happy hour every Wednesday at 9 o'clock here in Silicon Valley and 18-hour in Europe. And today we have an exciting topic about reasoning with agent AI. I started some discussion about this on LinkedIn, and I saw many of you followed up. So I'm very happy to see some of my old students come back and some of the new faces. So here's what we are going to do. We are actually streaming this on YouTube, so we get a recording, so we can share this with those of you who missed it or want to come back and review it and stuff like that. Okay. So if you don't want to be in the recording, please be off camera. Don't use your voice, even if you don't want, even your voice to get into the recording. Okay, so that's our usual announcement. And this is WeeklyWed at Business School of AI. I'm a technology futurist, and I teach AI and Gen AI at multiple different universities. And this is my student community, so I get to have fun conversation with you all. Many of you are working in industry in different roles, and many of you are learning from various different courses and different, generally like your own attempt at learning what's happening in the space, because Gen AI space is shifting. And I think some of you might have come from my Gen AI course here on Business School of AI or on at Stanford or Barcelona Tech. So I had introduced Agent AI first in my Stanford class, not this April, the previous April in spring, and shown a tool called Agent GPT. That is still one of a viable tool. So I'm going to show that. And the second thing is, I believe in my LinkedIn Learning course. So LinkedIn Learning has multiple different courses, and I have 4 courses on LinkedIn Learning. So I have generative AI for business professionals using no code. And again, in there, I had introduced what is Agent AI. And so I'm working on a whole new course on Agent AI, which is not related to, all my previous courses, just focusing on Agent AI. But my specialty is to help you understand how to go build AI. And so it could be a product manager or a business owner with data, but several different roles come together to build AI. That's kind of a best kept secret in industry that you don't realize unless you're one of the teams who's working in there. And so whatever your roles are, feel free to introduce yourself, give your name, because you're going to learn from each other as much as you're going to learn from me. And the best way to learn from me is to ask questions. Okay, so I've done what I'm promising. I'm asking of you, given my name and my location. If you want, you can give your LinkedIn or anything else here in the Zoom. And for those of you who are watching the recording later, or who are not able to join live but watching the YouTube, feel free to come to Business School of AI on LinkedIn, because we will be sharing all the follow-ups and community area and everything else. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a very short session, because this is a very, very deep topic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a short session on reasoning with LLM. And so let's get started with, let me get my deck up, okay? And I'm going to share this deck at the community area in Business School of AI. We will also post this in LinkedIn. Let me share. Okay. So the plan is I'm going to do, usually we go for an hour. So what I'm going to do it in the first half hour, I'm going to teach you this concept, and we'll have a fun discussion so that, we can really learn. And then I'm going to pass it on to Yash and Deepika if you want to stay on and continue a discussion on how you want to apply this learning. Okay. And let me go. So I'm a technology futurist, and I focus on inclusive AI research on autonomous vehicles, human computer interface called AIX, and Gen AI and data. Okay. So let me skip all this. Okay. So this is, if you want to capture, so the easiest thing is if you follow Business School of AI on LinkedIn, you will be part of this community and can continue on. But you might have different modalities in which you might want to engage. So I just wanted to put it out here. And I kept talking about the community. So I made a bit.ly for it, bit.ly/Sudha, my first name, and Agent AI is the name of our community, where you can come in, get the deck for this presentation or continue the conversation. And you must have registered at WeeklyWed registration to come here. Okay. So feel free to add in the chat. What do large language models do? So we are talking about reasoning with large language models. So what I'm going to do is, I'm assuming you know what is large language models or how they work. So I'm not going to go back into the basics, but we've done 4 different webinars on this topic at WeeklyWed in the past. So you should be able to find that in the archive if you're interested. Okay. I think it's available as a course on Business School of AI directly. Okay, so the question is, so I'm seeing, okay, Mohammed, welcome. So I'm just seeing the intros going on. So what do large language models do? If you are okay to be recorded, feel free to, give a shout out and answer, or you can add it in the chat. What do large language models do? What are they really doing? Like all this hype about Gen AI and large language models, they're chatting and generating. What is it that they really do? And some of you said you work on machine learning and you've come from traditional AI. So machine learning, deep learning, AI, what does AI in general do? And Yash, I know you're my partner in this, but you're welcome to answer too. It's fine. What does Gen AI, what does large language model, what do they do?
They think.
Okay, I had not set up Yash to say this, but I'm so glad she did. Okay, we will question that, whether large language models really think. That's the $1 billion question today. Yash, for anybody who's learning AI and coming and learning Gen AI and saying, okay, large language models, they're different. It's based on Gen AI, transformer model. And what exactly is it doing? I would not start with thinking.
It does
Yes,
the next word prediction, right, Sudha?
that's right. That's all it is doing. So all AI is making predictions. It's stochastic, so it is guessing. Every time we interact, the answer you get, the way it engages with you, is different from me. If I go back and do that again, is also different, right? Okay, so essentially, okay, I'm going to get out of the share and come back, guys. Give me a minute. Yeah. I have more slides here than I planned for, so I'm going to skip through some of them. Apologies. Okay. So what I was asking for is LLM same as foundation models? I want to skip that because this will slow our presentation. So essentially, large language models are built with the different technological transformers. They're neural networks, and they learn like every AI from data, and they store the learning in their memory and in the model, right? In the model memory. And then when we interact with the model in inference, it makes predictions. So there is an aspect of training AI and then running the AI in production, or when it is ready for production, as inference. So one important thing, very fundamental thing with traditional AI, in any form of AI, is that it is trained. But with LLM, there is a concept of foundation model where it is pre-trained. So before we even get to ChatGPT or Gemini or anything out there, or any of the cool products that you are building, there is a foundation model which is pre-trained. So it's neural networks, and it creates a mental map of all the different words that it is provided in its pre-training of the words and the relation to each other, right? The vectors and tokenization. That is what is the foundation model. On top of the foundation model, you do a round of training. On top of that, you go build application. That's when you get to the models and the fine tuning, and then you get to the actual chat GPTs of the world, right? So that's our foundation piece. I want you to have a solid understanding of this. If you if you're not familiar with this, with a solid foundation, you can get a Gen AI course anywhere. I also have one in Business School of AI, which is an email course if you want to try that. And as I said, we have done 4 webinars just on large language models. You can go check that out. And if you can come, if you're new to this, you can add a comment and we're happy to give this in the community area, okay? So the premise that we are getting in today, the topic is about reasoning. And Yash said that what large language models do is think. Okay, not to put Yash on the spot, but how many of do you think Gen AI, the large language models, think? Yes or no? And feel free to say no, even if Yash said yes, because Yash works at a different level, because Yash works on machine unlearning, which is all this memory that the learning that the model has. Memory is not the word, learning is the word. Large language models are neural networks that are creating a connection of the training data of words and their connections in transformer-based architecture, and they've stored that learning in the model. And Yash works on machine unlearning, on how to remove bias and make it unlearn, which is like a whole different realm of her research. So I hear another comment. They produce text image using internet and enterprise data. So that is also true. So to the question on what they do, I was basically going back to the basics of, yes, they do prediction. Large language models are doing prediction. And as Suresh said, they're doing the next best word prediction. And they also generate, right? What they're doing is they are not just looking back into their memory like traditional machine learning. So thank you for that comment, Moham. So what they are doing is they are not just looking back into their historic memory, like in a machine learning model, they are deep learning model, or even computer vision, any kind of traditional AI is looking back into its learning. It's not transformer model. It's a different architecture of how they are storing the learning in their memory, or extracting the knowledge from the data. And how are they storing it? How are they doing recall, extrapolating that so that they can make a stochastic prediction is very different with traditional AI. And with generative AI and large language model is a type of generative AI. It is producing, which means it is generating, it's extrapolating that learning and generating. So when you chat with the chatbot, which is an intelligent chatbot, it is not just giving the same sentences that it has learned, but it has learned sentence structure based on the many examples that it has learned so that it can speak a language as it is chatting with you. So it looks almost human, and there is discussion of how it has an anthropomorphic element on how it is, it makes us feel it's real, and it knows and it thinks. So the question is, does it really think, yes or no? Feel free to give an answer, or you can, put an emoji or do a show of hands here. Who agrees that generative AI, the large language models, think?
I think if you say thinking, it's based on the weights. It just predicts, not like the thinking that I think we do. I mean, we don't think
Yeah. Yes.
with the weights or anything like that. We organically think, but the machines think using the weights of the words and connections that it has, I think.
Okay. So I am so happy when you guys actually lead me on to exactly where I'm going. So we will talk about thinking, because I am thinking when Yash says that the AI LLM thinks, she's not just thinking about making prediction based on the weights and biases. So it's a deep neural network in the end, and it takes the input data. So every word, it actually has done runs, millions of runs, and it's stored the learning, right? So for again a refresher, when you say weights and biases, the neural network has, like every neural network has weights and biases. In this case, weights is what it is, how it knows a word is important. In each layer of learning, which word is important is the weights. and how the neural network knows what it's going to propagate, what learning it's going to propagate to the next level is the biases. So you hear about this model is, so many million parameters, and they're competing models with larger and larger number of parameters. The weights and biases together is called parameters. So that's what you see. So the more dense the neural network, the more learning it has packed in. So it has to do with the learning, and it has to make the prediction or recall, are the two aspects of the neural network. And so the more layers it has, more millions of layers, then the training is going to be more expensive. It is going to cost you compute time. And so that's why you have foundation models built, and then you just do fine tuning, which is training the last layer of that neural network. Okay. So I believe we are on the same page on neural networks. They are kind of AI. They go through pre-training. They make predictions. Whether they think is questionable, but we'll get to that. We will find answers together. That's my promise here. And in its crux, it's nothing but a neural network with weights and biases, and it stores the learning that has been given to it in its data, in its pre-training. And when we do fine-tuning, we are actually training the last layer of the neural network so that it can have the tone, the personality, it has the formality or the behavior we want instead of internet data, which is what the entire model has been trained. So when you're looking at corporate data and interacting with the customer, you want it to be more formal. You do not want it to have certain curse words, and you can actually have like certain language that is relevant to your industry. So understanding industry business acumen, which is kind of a stretch to say that, but all that you feed in a data set and you do fine tuning. So that's where we are. So I've done this exercise talking to Google. I'm going to skip that now because it is going to cost us too much time. But I wanted to show the point because I want to get to the reasoning thinking part, which is my promise to you, right? So the LLM, when we are interacting, so if you talk to a search engine, if you talk to Gemini, if you talk to ChatGPT, for example, or any of the other customer service intelligence chatbots, and I heard this week that Google is integrating their Gemini Vertex AI into the Google Homes, but it is under a paid program. So the Google Home I have is still not as intelligent, and it's just the old NLP. But if I get their Nest Aware package, then I will get an intelligent one which understands context and continues the conversation because it's based on their LLM. So all kind of LLM-based AI chatbots that we interact with is actually running in inference. It's like a piece of software. It's production piece of software that we are interacting with. And the real training, pre-training is done in the foundation model. The fine-tuning training is done. And then it comes to us, right? So when I always like to show this in my AI classes, where you can do this and you can try all the AI with traditional AI or LLMs, just by the various AI that's in your life, in a Home Assistant, in various search engines, or even on the phone. So when I go to Google and I say tomorrow I could, and I would encourage all of you to try this on your own at a later time, so we can stay on with the class. And you say tomorrow, and it says the next word. So just enter one word. What Suresh said, that in the brain of the LLM, finally, the core of LLM, it is just predicting the next word. As you continue to chat, don't think of write an essay and summarize this, or the kind of things we are dealing with. If in the search, you can actually see it is just guessing the next word, next word. So just type any sentence, start it one word at a time. It will give you the next. So it will give you the sense of how it is making the next word prediction. Okay. So now the question to you, important question, before it gets to thinking, is the LLM learning? Is it learning live? That's my question to you. And I'm going to speed up from here because we are going to get to reasoning fast. So yes or no? Is the LLM learning while I'm interacting with this and chatting with it and giving it more words, as I'm asking it to do summaries of paragraphs on posts on LinkedIn, asking it to write articles, asking it to summarize videos, asking it to draw something? Is it learning live? As I'm interacting with it, is it making it smarter? Is it learning? Is it using my data? That's the question, right? If it's learning live, which means I'm giving it data, taking the data, it is learning so that it gets better. What about ChatGPT? Yes or no, guys? I need to speed up because I need to leave quickly.
Yes, so I think it learns based on the context of what is being discussed.
Okay. So typically, thank you for that, Suresh. Typically, when you're interacting with an AI, it's not learning live because a product manager, somebody decides it should not be. So this was a very challenging thing because when ChatGPT was introduced, it is based on GPT 3.5 Turbo is the foundation model on which it was fine-tuned for us to get the application called ChatGPT. And so when we are interacting with ChatGPT, enterprise, so the average person wants it to learn so that it gets better in continuing to talk to us. It was not learning live. That is because it was built on a model that was frozen in time. So it is built on a version, GPT 3.5 Turbo, and that was done, right? And then the company continued to build the next version and they came with GPT-4, but ChatGPT was built on 3.5 Turbo. So when you're interacting with ChatGPT and chatting with it, it is not learning live. Then when they came with GPT-4 and they said, hey, you can input your enterprise data and it can do data analysis, it can do all kinds of things. Then enterprise started saying, hey, is it taking my data? I cannot give enterprise data. I cannot use my customer data in here. And so they said they have a choice. The customers have a choice to say, I don't want you to use my data. So even now, if you look closer in a lot of different Google products, Apple products, you have a choice to say, do not use my data. And so it is not learning live, but they're collecting the data. So it's a two-step process. It's built on a model that is frozen as a version. So it is not learning live, but they're collecting the data. The question is, are they collecting the data or not? But what I was looking for is, as I'm interacting with ChatGPT, if it makes a mistake, and it gives me a wrong answer and I say that was not right, it will try to say, oh, I'm so sorry, because it's in fine tuning, and it will go. But if you're building a production system with your enterprise data, it's offering customer service and doing things, you want it to learn from its mistake if it is not doing the right thing by customers. And how can you do that if it is going to be built on the same model? If the model is not retrained again, then how can you do that? So the average ChatGPTs of the world that you interact with is not learning live. They are collecting the data to go retrain the model. But when especially with ChatGPT, if you're talking to ChatGPT, it is not learning live. So what is the way by which you can actually make it live is you can actually run an agent. So I have this is a huge topic, and I'm working on a LinkedIn course on this, and I'm happy to bring a course for you guys. And Yash and I have been chatting because Yash has done a couple sessions on agent GPT, multi-agents and stuff here. So you can find this in WeeklyWed archive. I think we have done 3 rounds of agent AI, not the reasoning part. So the topic I want to give you today is agent AI automates AI using reasoning. That's the promise, right? And the first lesson I want you to understand, the core of agent AI is you get access to real-time data and services. So if you're talking to ChatGPT, it is built on GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is frozen in time. And so it's not learning from whatever mistakes it makes, right? So what you could do is one kind of reasoning, which is you can have predetermined prompts. You can actually prompt ChatGPT and say, that was not right, do it this way. And you can continue to prompt it to get to the right answer if you're doing this live. But if you want to give access to your customers to your data set in a RAG form, or you want to offer some services that it wants to access, you can automate that LLM interaction and make that LLM go make decisions, do reasoning. One kind of reasoning is from predetermined prompts in the backend. Okay. So if you go to Agent GPT, you can actually ask it to say, hey, do this research for me. Tell me I want to go to Seattle, and tell me, build a detailed map plan for me. I want to do industry research of autonomous vehicles. Give me a plan. It will do that. And so you can try a demo, and we are going to do this in the community area. And Yash, if you have bandwidth, you can actually follow up and show some demos. Okay. So the thing Agent GPT does is it is taking a complex concept or your prompt and breaking it down into step by step. So there is another tool, and I don't endorse any tools, but I like to play with everything that's available out there. What I told you as the first lesson of one kind of reasoning is to have predetermined prompts in the backend talking to ChatGPT so that it is actually learning live from your data and services and accessing that instead of just being a simple chatbot. There are a whole bunch of agent AI tools, and they're all saying create agent AI, drag and drop interface. And so there is one called N8N. I'm not endorsing any of these, so I'm not suggesting you to go sign up for anything. But for free, you can actually check out a demo and play with it, I believe. So and that is called N8A8. And if you want to do a follow-up session, I'm happy to come in and do, more of this, and we can even build out, a course based on that. But I want you to think about what will you do with this, right? That is important for me. So the second lesson I want to leave you with is it does step-by-step reasoning. So when we are saying reasoning, it's not thinking in a cognitive sense, but it is making decisions by looking at data in a very logical form. It's not just pure math. So one is you can make it look like it is thinking because you have created a bunch of predetermined prompts talking to an LLM. The second thing is you can make it do step-by-step reasoning. And one of the things is from chain of thought prompting. There's several other types of LLMs that you can do. Okay, so on Kaggle, they have, and again, I'll share all this URL in the community area. In Kaggle, they have this whole concept of, what is chain of thought, and step by step how you can teach the LLM to get to look like it's reasoning, but it's basically chain of thought prompting. Okay, so I would like to continue our learning because I want this discussion of, I can just give you more and more theory that won't be as interesting. But if we do not take this to go build something. So I want to know, what would you build with this? What would that look like? So you can continue on this conversation. You can come to the bit.ly Sudha Agent AI community, and Yash is going to show that in a minute so that we can continue the discussion. But what I want to hear from you is, you now know that you can create reasoning by creating a predetermined prompt, or you can create reasoning by giving it step-by-step prompt as a chain of thought, and it goes from there. And then theoretically, there are several kinds of reasoning. Is it going to take the answer, what it is getting, and say, this is right? Or it is going
like
to
a Scottish lilt. It's about her.
Sorry? So there are several different concepts of reasoning, and I'm going to pass it on to Yash. And I'm going to drop off, but I will meet you back at the community area where if you guys decide to work, collaborate, and you can publish a research paper or build a project or something, we can continue the conversation. But I want to leave you with, you can do multiple types of reasoning, and there are several different kind of reasoning out there. And you will hear the theoretical aspect of it. And I've put in the reference papers for each of this and given the right citations in the deck. So I will give you the full deck for this when you're ready to come in and try this in the community area. And the idea is to collaborate with each other to go build something useful, right? But what I want you to know is you will theoretically hear about a lot of different kinds of reasoning. And Yash has a beautiful slide on, 5 different types of reasoning that she said she's willing to share with you guys if you want to learn that, right? But I want you to stop at every stage and think about, if you're going to do reasoning, what does that translate to? Are you doing some kind of predetermined prompt in the backend? Are you doing more, right? And in that case, what does that look like? What are you going to do with it? So I would like you to think about, okay, now that you know that you can make ChatGPT like chatbot with LLM, but now you can make it do some kind of reasoning by chain of thought prompting or a predetermined bundle of prompt. And you can use N88 or any of the tools, or you can go build it. But what does that look like? Yes, shall I pass it back to you?
Yes, Sudha, I'm ready.
And we can continue this conversation. And I just want to make sure that, you apply this, you think about, and sometimes it might be a corporate data set and plans, and you can talk about it. That's okay. I just want you to continue the learning so that you build something for real and not get into this hype of agent AI is thinking. Yes, it is thinking, to finish up the conversation that Yash started, but it is not thinking as in it is just out of control thinking and automating, and it needs to be it needs to be controlled. It is thinking and reasoning step by step to do something, to make a human decision that humans would make, but in our absence, in a way we set it up, in a way we build it. That is what building agent AI is about. So with that, I'm going to go offline and I'm going to pass it on to Yash and Deepika. Yes?
Thank you, Sudha.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Hi, Deepika.
Hello.
Deepika, I was thinking, how will it be we show the community area and introduce the community area to all those who have come today? Would you like to show the community area, and I can explain what it is having, what are the components it has, and what are the programs we run in Business School of AI? What is the ethos of Business School of AI on which it is grounded?
And Yash, I would like you to show the one slide that you showed me about the different types of reasoning before you go into that, because I did mention multiple. Yeah, that will be helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I'll see you guys online.
Yeah, I figured we could just keep the discussion here, and Yash, you could show the slides and have a conversation about it.
Okay. Thank you, Devika. Yes, today I want to show one of the agentic design patterns. So design patterns are used when the same thing is solved by many people. There is a specific pattern that's created, and we can use this pattern and write the code or do the system architecture. The design pattern that today I want to show is reflection, reflexion, and lats. I'll share my screen. Devika, would it be possible for you to give me access to share the screen?
I think Sudha still has to make us host. Give me 1 second.
By that time, I'll be telling about this. See, there are different types of reflection agents, like the basic reflection, reflexion, and lats. The basic reflection agents, they execute simple self-assessments. They check yields for precision and steadiness. The initial step in AI self-awareness is through basic reflection agents. Then there are reflexion agents, which have deeper self-awareness. They comprehend and adapt strategies. They dissect decision-making procedures. Then there are types of reflection agents, that is the language agent tree search. It explores multiple potential actions and results, accesses actions in a tree-like manner. It aids in strategizing and decision-making. How does this help you when you are trying to create? Yes, thank you, Deepika. When you are trying to create an agentic system, multi-agent system, you can use this design pattern and try to build an agent that can reflect upon itself, that is, do some self-assessments, and reflections, that expand and they're capable of self-awareness. And language agent research, I will show this now. Yes, this is what I wanted to show. This is from Raga AI. Here we see reflection is one of the design patterns. This design pattern in turn has three different patterns. That is reflection agents, reflection agents, and language agent research. Why do we have to know the design patterns? So that we can build solutions which have it's like off-the-shelf components that we can plug together like Lego bricks. So design patterns are helping in architecture, agentic architecture. Yeah, this is what I wanted to share today. This is something that's come newly, and that's the little part of shiny item that you carry from WeeklyWed today, where you got to know about agentic patterns. And yes, you learned a lot about reasoning, how LLMs are reasoning, and how generative AI is reasoning. Devika, shall we move to the community area and show the community area? So that, and also, can we pull up the survey and ask the students here to fill up the survey so that we come to know what is it that they're expecting from WeeklyWed, what are their aspirations, and what is it that they want to learn in the future.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. The bit.ly is just not loading.
By then, I would like to ask everybody, what AI are you using in your everyday work? What has been your learning journey in AI, in Gen AI? What are your aspirations in learning these important concepts? How do you plan to take it to your workplace or to your research or to your life in general? I would like to hear from all of you. And this is a close community where it's a safe space. Everybody can discuss. And this is, Devika, can we stop the live stream so that everybody can talk now?
Yes, give me 1 second.